Royal Air Force Cinema Corporation presents your own Astra Gazette. This is a painting by accepted standards. The dictionary conception of a painting being the art of representing natural objects in color. But this means much more. This is alive in atmosphere, in character, in rhythm. Alive because the artist has the power of understanding his subject by living with it until he has achieved the effect he desires. The artist is David Shepherd. He's aged 26. Surprisingly enough, Shepherd is not a specialist. His versatility is apparent in studies of every description, yet the fundamental feature is always realism, something inevitably acquired from first-hand knowledge. Little things like the brilliant glow of the sun's reflection from an aircraft in flight, the vivid scenery below the Britannia over Kilimanjaro, Africa's highest mountain. One remembers that Shepherd once went to East Africa to become a game warden. A bird's-eye view of New York with a Viscount leaving Idlewild Airport. A panorama embracing the lower end of Manhattan and docks and skyscrapers of downtown New York. The uniform of the Royal Air Force is prominent among those present at this exhibition of Shepherd paintings. Men for whom certain portraits recall vivid memories. Men like Wing Commander V.C. Woodward, DFC. A forgotten friend, not merely another Lancaster bomber, but a very real character once to the men who flew in her. Q for Queenie, last of the fabulous dam busters. The deed lives on, but the machines are forgotten. But it's the Spitfire that brings memories flooding back in the mind of Wing Commander Woodward. Memories of aerial battles over Tunisia as a Spitfire pilot with 213 Squadron Desert Air Force. The Spitfire may be a plane of a past age, but its short history was a glorious one. Realistic photographs become impersonal pictures by the side of paintings like these. In the words of a Battle of Britain pilot, it was like attending a funeral. And so it must have appeared to most of the airmen and spectators, for on this day, Biggin Hill ceased to be a fighter command station. The squadron standard is formally handed over to number 141 Squadron and is blessed by the rector of Biggin Hill, the Reverend Simons. From Biggin on the Bump flew the young men whose names often became household words during the Battle of Britain. Sailor Malan, Stanford Tuck, Al Deer, and a host of others, all of whom played their part in humbling the Luftwaffe. And famous planes, too, the Spitfire and the Hurricane. It seems more than coincidence that in those desperate days the weather was so often perfect, while on this occasion not even the sun could raise a smile, and the planned nostalgic fly past has to be cancelled. The salute is taken by the Air Officer Commanding-in-Chief, Fighter Command, Air Chief Marshal Sir Thomas Pike, KCB, CBE, DFC. And number 41 Squadron is led by Wing Commander P.D. Thompson, DFC, their commanding officer, himself a Battle of Britain pilot. The last Fighter Command Squadron leaves, but that is not the end of the Biggin Hill story. Today, its runways are too short for modern aircraft, and the planners believe it is badly sited geographically. But it will still remain under Royal Air Force control. The gates close on an obsolete airfield, but one whose name will live in history. mermaids are elusive, difficult to capture in the flesh, but one man who has captured the spirit of these legendary ladies is sculptor Bernard Jepson. In his garden on the banks of the Thames at Weybridge, he has created a whole shoal of mermaids. For 25 years, Mr. Jepson illustrated magazines. Now he has turned his hand to sculpture, and an imaginative hand it has proved. His aim, in spite of the mythical character of his subjects, is realism. In the Spanish patio, a lady of Spain, complete in every detail. In the miniature Japanese garden, popular with Mr. Jepson's younger neighbours, an appropriate Japanese girl. All the models are made from cement and sand with iron reinforcements. Usually it takes the sculptor about 3 weeks to complete a figure, 4 weeks if the lady sports a tail. The geese are real. A typical effect, for all the models are planned to go into the garden design rather than stand out like statues. Work in the garden is real enough too, but there are plenty of refreshing sights for a perspiring gardener. The diversity of his subjects shows the versatile imagination of the sculptor. But for those who pass by his garden as they travel on the Thames, Bernard Jepson will be remembered particularly for his mermaids, the lovely ladies of legend. Deep in the green hell of the Malayan jungle, where sweat-stained men hack their way... As you wear, the place seems to have changed. Let's try again. Deep in the heart of a Royal Air Force Leave Centre, situated in the earthly paradise which is Malaya, we discover, to our delight, all the home comforts we had hoped for. After a long spell of duty at an isolated station, the Elysian Leave Centre is the next best thing to home. The dreaded cry of "wakey, wakey" can be forgotten here. If you want to stay in bed all day, you can do just that without any ungentlemanly prods from the flight sergeant. Obviously, the beach is one of the main attractions, but if you're sick of the sight of the sun, you can retire inside for darts, table tennis or snooker. There are also 4 free film shows every week, so you don't have to be an outdoor type to enjoy yourself. The Elysian, which is strictly for other ranks, has been in operation for 10 years and is on loan to the Royal Air Force from a retired group captain, Dr. McKern. There's no need for the old cry, "Come on in, the water's lovely." In this part of the world, it's always lovely. The average length of a holiday here is 10 to 14 days, but it's not unknown for people to wish they could stay for as many months. Who would want to swap all this for the steamy jungle? You can't buy cockles, candy floss or ice cream here, but nature has thoughtfully provided a milk bar, a thump on a rock, and your partner's got a free drink, something you can't get in Brighton or Blackpool. And if all this hasn't convinced you that you're well treated in the service, well, we give up.